for today, so let's head over and continue on with our 2021 Titans team refresher. We started part 1 yesterday, so let's wrap it up. Just kind of key refreshers on what we talked about yesterday in part 1. We believe in Ryan Tannehill. We believe in A.J. Brown. We believe in Julio Jones, the great chemistry that they're already having. Julio Jones not coming over and saying, hey, this is my team now, just kind of wanting to kind of fit in in the background. Honestly, Derrick Henry, y'all, we don't even need to talk about him. He's the greatest running back of all time. Y'all heard me. That was not a missay. That was not a misquote. Greatest running back of all time. I don't know what y'all want me to say. He's the greatest running back of all time. So they win the Super Bowl because of that. Yeah. So Derrick Henry's great. All the offense is great. The only cause for concern is their new offensive coordinator. We're not the biggest fans of. We saw him be an offensive coordinator a couple of times in his career, and the offense was looking a little poor overall in that season. He also never really utilized the running game that much, and you're going to have to utilize the running game here because of Derrick Henry. So the offensive coordinator is the biggest red spot on this Titans offense, and we'll see how they overcome it. All right, so that's what we've covered already. So now let's start to see what they just did in totality last year. How many wins did they have? Who did they beat? Close games, blowouts. What was it like? What did they look like in the playoffs? And then we'll keep going from there. So here we go. Let's get the Titans last year up. Alrighty, here we go. All right, they went 11-5 last year, made it to the playoffs, but then lost the wild card game. So let's walk through their schedule last season and see who they were beating, who they were losing to. Were they beating the greatest teams? Were they beating the trash teams, losing against the good teams? Let's see. So here we go. Week 1, they beat the Broncos 16-14. They beat the Jaguars 33-30. They beat the Vikings 31-30. So real close games right off the rip, just barely winning. Then they go out and beat the Bills week 4, 42-16, an absolute blowout. Jeez Louise. And then they go out and beat the Texans in overtime, winning 42-36. So once again, they've proven that they can score the ball. Their defense, oh my God, giving up all these points, 30 points, 36 points, 30 points again. So that defense that just lost Malcolm Butler, we'll see who they replaced them with, what they shored up on defense, because we are going to have to see a better defense in this, and we are going to get to the overall stats of the Titans and the Titans offense and defense, what it was looking like compared to everybody else, because it seems like they were giving up a lot of points. We'll see how it looked in relation to everybody else in a second, but let's continue on with their schedule. Then they go out and face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember, early Pittsburgh Steelers had a great offense, great defense, started 11-0, and then Big Ben's arm started to went, and the defense started to kind of melt down a little bit with the injuries. So they lose to the Steelers 24-27. Then they lose to the Bengals. A little kind of inexcusable loss here, losing 20-31, but giving up 31 points to that Bengals team with Joey B. I mean, I guess it's Joe Burrow, but geez Louise, they've got no help around him last season. T. Higgins, I guess. A.J. Green wasn't really anything last year. All right, then they go out and beat the Chicago Bears 24-17. They lose to the Colts 17-34. Once again, the Colts is a real solid team. They lost to them by big time. Gave up 34 points as well. They beat the Ravens is that the second time? No. All right. They beat the Ravens 30-24 in overtime. They beat the Colts again. No, they lost the first time. So they beat the Colts and absolutely pounded them. They put up 45 points, folks. Truly revenge game, and won 45-26. Then they lost against the Browns 35-41. Once again, giving up. I mean, folks, look at these point totals, folks, that we've been talking about. 41, 34, 31, 36, 30, 30. High. And look at this offense as well. You know, scoring 16, scoring 20, 24, 17, but then scoring 42, 42, 45, 30. So 35, 31, 46, 41. So kind of all over the place here. All right, let's continue on with the schedule here. They beat the Jaguars 31-10. Great blowout there. They beat the Lions 46-25. Once again, giving up 25 points to the Lions is still a little not the greatest. And then they lose against the Packers 14-41. Absolutely obliteration. And then the last game of the season, they win 41-38 against the Texans. Then they get into the playoffs. They lose 13-20. Let's check out the box score here and see what Ryan Tannehill was looking like, what Derrick Henry was doing, and compared to their counterparts. So Ryan Tannehill went 18 of 26 for only 165 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Unfortunate with that pick there. Derrick Henry only got 40 yards, so they truly shut that man down. They faced earlier in the season, and the Ravens truly kind of let learned everything. I mean, that's in the regular season. Derrick Henry ran in overtime for the win, and the Ravens shut him down in the postseason. So they weren't able to kind of switch up what they were doing and confuse what the Ravens' game plan should have been. But Lamar Jackson didn't play any better. 17 of 24. I mean, that's 50% completion percentage right there for 179 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. He did rush for 136 yards, so geez, and 1 touchdown. So the legs of Lamar Jackson truly killed the Titans, and that was really it. The running backs, J.K. Dobbins, 43 yards, Gus Edwards, 38 yards, Marquise Brown, 19 yards rushing. Nobody really kind of catching. Well, Marquise Brown had 109 yards receiving as well. So overall, the speed of Lamar Jackson truly took over and beat the Titans last season. Alrighty, let's see what the Titans' overall offensive and defensive stats were looking like. So let's start here with the offense. The Titans last season, their offense ranked number 4 kind of overall. All right. They put up 491 points. The average was 396. So, I mean, that offense was killing it last year. 100 more points put up than the average. They put up 6,300 yards offensively. The average was 5,700. So, 600 more yards. That's fantastic. Seems like only one team had more yards. About one team put up more yards than the Titans did, and that was the Chiefs at 6,600. So that was great by the Titans. The offense was there, and we saw that with their point totals. Fantastic. Alrighty, passing. They threw for 3,600 yards. The average was 38. So once again, this is what we know about Ryan Tannehill. He's not the main factor of why they win these games, folks. I mean, the man's not throwing for 4,000 yards. The man is not airing it out, and he's below average. And when we just look at, so we say, the Titans kind of a top 4 offense last season. Just everyone else compared to them just has so many more yards kind of in the top 10. The Packers threw for 4,100 yards. The Bills threw for 4,600 yards. The Tampa Bay Bucks threw for 4,600 yards. The Saints threw for 3,700, but once again, Drew Brees was injured and missed like 6 games. So we can expect that offensive production to drop off in the passing game. The Titans really don't have that excuse. The Chiefs threw for 4,800. The Ravens only threw for 2,700. But that's, once again, Lamar Jackson, more of a running dual threat quarterback. And I'm not saying he's a running back, but the offensive scheme is more run heavy. So once again, we're comparing Ryan Tannehill to a Saints offense that lost its main man for 5 games, and Lamar Jackson, who was just rushing the ball because they weren't even calling the deep ball because they don't have any deep ball wide receivers. So you're going to stick with what you're good with. So we got to see Ryan Tannehill and this offense kind of kick it into high gear, especially when you've still got 2 great wide receivers, but you can't fall in love with the passing game because you have Derrick Henry. You can't forget about the running game, and that's where the Titans really kind of showed their strength. 2,600 yards rushing. The Ravens had 3,000 yards rushing because, Lamar Jackson and the 3 great running backs. And were they number 2? Anybody else got more than 2,600 besides the Ravens? They don't. So the Titans were the second best rushing team last season, which obviously. So the average was 1,900 and they had 2,600, so 700 more yards rushing than the average. So we all know that the Titans are a little bit more of a better running team than the passing team because it's obvious. Derrick Henry's better than Ryan Tannehill. That's easy to say. All right, let's see where this Titans defense ranked. Here we go. The Titans had a... number 24 defense. Absolutely very bad. They gave up 439 points. The average was 396, so about 50 more points than the average. That's, once again, not good, and we just saw that in the point totals when we were looking over them. We were like, damn, these are very, very high, and that's exactly what it is. They gave up 6,300 yards in total. Is that the most? Who gave up more than 6,300? The Texans gave up 6,600. The Jags gave up 6,600. The Lions gave up 6,700. Geez. So Titans giving up a ton of yards, a ton of points. All right, now let's see if it was their passing defense or rushing defense that was kind of hurting them, or was it both? Let's see. The Titans, they gave up 4,400 yards passing. The average was 3,800. So once again, bad passing defense. Rushing defense, they gave up 1,900 rushing yards, and the average was 1,900. So it's really their passing defense, and that's where Malcolm Butler comes in, and that's probably why they kind of, let him walk. So now we're going to have to see who the Titans picked up for their corners to kind of shore up their passing defense, because we know their running defense is about average, so not bad. All right, so let's start seeing what they did in the offseason. Let's get their all offseason moves, and then we'll talk about them, and then we can see what they did in the draft, in their offensive line, and then their just overall write-up, and then we'll go through their schedule. So here we go, the Titans offseason moves. Let's see what we got cooking. What do we got cooking? Alrighty, so they bring back Anthony Fursker, and he's really going to have to get it done because they've got no more Jonnu Smith, so that tight end position of Anthony Fursker, he's going to have to get it done. And was Anthony Fursker, let's get up the Titans depth chart. I believe he's tight end number 1 for this Titans team. Yes, he is now the new starting tight end. Last season, Anthony Fursker had 387 yards. Y'all know, if it's not clear with the flag behind us, we are big on the tight end narrative, the tight end university. We absolutely love that. And we kind of give more credit to the tight ends that participated in tight end university because you learned from the best of the best. Travis Kelce, George Kittle, put it together. With Greg Olsen, don't want to leave him out. He's not playing anymore, but he was, one of the OG greats. So let's see if Anthony Fursker was at tight end university. Double check this. I'm almost certain he was, but if he definitely was, then we can give the Titans an extra kind of boost offensively when we talk about him. So here we go. Anthony Fursker, where art thou? Where art thou? Please, please, please attend tight end university so we can get a little bit big on you. And there he is. Anthony Fursker did attend, so we can get a little bit bigger on Anthony Fursker now. Love that. So, starting tight end, they also bring in Bud Dupree. He came off of an injury. Hopefully, he's good to go. Great kind of edge rusher for the Steelers and now with this Titans team. So, that's a great kind of pickup there defensively. Once again, rushing the passer. That's exactly what you need. That's what beats good passing ability. Getting there, moving them off their mark, not letting them get time to throw. And that's why Patrick Mahomes kind of floundered in the Super Bowl, because he was rushing for his life. So, bringing in Bud Dupree. They bring in Janoris Jenkins, a corner. Fantastic. Let's bring up Janoris Jenkins on our favorite website, playerprofile.com, so we can see what these corners are doing against these wide receivers out here. Are they locking up the A1 Tier 1 wide receivers? Let's see. So Janoris Jenkins, he is 32, a little bit of a veteran out here, and he's only 5'10". A little on the short side, but does he have the goods? All right, here we go. Janoris Jenkins against Scotty Miller, 5 of 5 for 73 yards. He did have an interception, but overall, a little bit of a burn there. Against Henry Ruggs, 3 of 6 for 29 yards and a pass breakup. Good lockdown. Against Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 4 of 7 for 20 yards. Great lockdown. Against Robbie Anderson, 0 of 1 for 0 yards. Great lockdown. Against Darnell Mooney of the Bears, 6 of 6 for 78 yards. A little bit of a burn there, folks. Against Antonio Brown, 3 of 6 for 33 yards and a pass breakup. We got Calvin Ridley, 5 of 11 for 82 yards. He did have 4 pass breakups and an interception. So overall, probably got burned on 1 pass, but every other kind of play, locking him down. That's pretty solid there. We'll give him credit for that one. Against Tim Patrick of the Broncos, 0 of 3. That's a great lockup and a pick. Fantastic. Against Jalen Reagor, 4 of 6 for 69 yards and a pass breakup. Demarcus Robinson, 6 of 8 for 73 yards. A little bit of a burn there. And then Adam Thielen, 8 of 9 for 94 yards and a pass breakup. Once again, a little bit of a burn there. But overall, a real solid cornerback right there in Janoris Jenkins. And while we're at it, let's get up Malcolm Butler. Let's see what he's truly looking like in the stats department, because I feel like that's something that gets overlooked on Malcolm Butler. We all just kind of go to that. I mean, well, just in my, well, me, let me just say that and see if y'all agree. When I hear Malcolm Butler, I just think I can't help but not think back to that kind of interception on the goal line, of those great instincts and that great hustle and that great finesse and that great just kind of high IQ that you need to play the game. But how is he looking against covering the best corners out here? So let's get up Malcolm Butler's stats quickly. Is Janoris Jenkins an upgrade over Malcolm Butler? I would say yes, because Janoris Jenkins is a little. Wow, Malcolm Butler's 31 too. Damn, where does the time go, folks? I don't freaking know. Here we go. Let's talk about Malcolm Butler. Here we go. Against Tim Patrick, 4 of 5 for 36 yards. Solid lockup right there. Against DJ Chark, 6 of 11 for 85 yards and 2 pass breakups. A little all right. It's not bad. Against Justin Jefferson, 4 of 6 for 54 yards and 2 pass breakups. Once again, it's all right. It's pretty okay. Against Gabriel Davis of the Bills, 5 of 11 for 51 yards and 2 picks. That's a great night right there. Against Brandon Cook, 6 of 10 for 106 yards. A little bit of a burn. Against Chase Claypool, 3 of 4 for 29 yards, great lockup. Against A.J. Green, 3 of 6 for 23 yards, 4 pass breakups, great lockup. Against Allen Robinson, 7 of 9 for 81 yards, 2 pass breakups, a little mediocre-ish. T.Y. Hilton, 5 of 6 for 66 yards, not terrible. Against Dez Bryant, 5 of 6 for 42 yards, once again, not bad. High catch percentage, but not a lot of yards, so we'll give him credit. Against Michael Pittman, 3 of 5 for 14 yards, great lockup. Rashad Higgins, 5 of 7 for 34 yards, good lockup right there. DJ Chark, 4 of 12 for 47 yards. Once again, that's not a bad lockup right there. Against Devontae Adams, 6 of 8 for 92 yards, 1 pass breakup and 1 interception. So once again, not bad overall, truly. And then the last game of the season, Brandon Cooks, 8 of 13 for 109 yards. That's a little bit of a burn. So overall, Malcolm Butler wasn't that bad. Why do you let him go? I don't know why everyone just lets this man go. It seems like he's solid. Maybe not, your number 1 corner, but definitely a number 2, I would say. Solid, but everyone just lets him walk. So real interesting. It's just interesting. I don't get it. I don't know why. It's interesting. All right, let's get back here. So they get Janoris Jenkins. That's a good pickup right there. We like that. And then they get a linebacker, Jaylen Brown. I believe that's a re-sign. That is a re-sign of Jaylen Brown. And then they bring in Josh Reynolds, another solid wide receiver out here. I believe he's pretty tall. Let's bring up his stats. I think he was the number 3 wide receiver for the Rams last season, behind Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. Let's see what Josh Reynolds was doing. He's 6'3", so great height there. 618 yards last season, 64% catch percentage. How many touchdowns? 2 touchdowns. Not bad. Overall, pretty solid there. For, this Titans team that just needs a number 3. You got A.J. Brown. You have Julio Jones. Let's see where Josh Reynolds is officially on their depth chart at the current moment. And he's number 3, and that's exactly what I want my number 3 to look like right there. 6'3", 600 yards. I'll take that. Absolutely all day. So some real solid, great pickups here in the offseason for the Titans. Now let's see who they lost. They lost Corey Davis, but they bring in Julio Jones. So kind of a big cancel out there. Great wide receivers. They lose a defensive lineman right there, Daquan Jones. They lose Desmond King II, another corner. Let's see where Desmond King is at here. We'll go through this quickly. Desmond King, he's only 26. Yeah, nice young gun out here. Once again, 5'10". What's up with all these short corners out there? Get your height up. We got, 6'6" Darren Waller we got to be covering, Come on. We got Tyreek Hill. I guess he's 5'10", but still that speed. Y'all better be hoping if you're 5'10" that you can keep up with the speed of Tyreek Hill, or you're going to get mossed by 6'1" DeAndre Hopkins. So I want my corners to be 6'10", folks. All right, let's see what Desmond King was doing. Against Tyreek Hill, 1 of 1 for 2 yards. Ooh, that's a lockup, even though he didn't really play on him that much. Against DJ Moore, 3 of 3 for 32 yards. Keelan Cole, 3 of 5 for 36 yards. Traquan Smith, 5 of 8 for 60 yards. Willie Snead, 2 of 4 for 14 yards. This man is always kind of on the number 2s out here. Never really guarding a number 1 wide receiver. Against Willie Snead, 2 of 4 for 14 yards. Zach Poshkull, 7 of 7 for 80 yards. That's a burn. Keelan Cole, round number 2. 5 of 8 for 41 yards and a pass breakup. Once again, solid. Marvin Jones, 2 of 6 for 14 yards. Alan Lazard, 2 of 2 for 28 yards. Kiki QT, 3 of 4 for 16 yards. So he can lock up the number 2 solidly. Absolutely. But they let him go. They also lost Jadeveon Clowney, a pass rusher, so they bring in a pass rusher, they lose a corner, bring in a corner, and then they lose a tight end and keep their own tight end. They lost Jonnu Smith, like we said. So overall, it seems like they've kind of plugged every hole that they lost, which is obviously a great sign. Let's see what they went and did in the draft. Let's see what the Titans got in the draft here. Or we had it. Here we go. All right, in the draft, they go and get a corner, Caleb Fairley. All right, so once again, just shoring up that corner. And I believe, is it the back injury? Is that what Caleb Fairley kind of big knock is? Let's see. I thought there was Caleb Fairley. Doesn't he have the back injury? Who's got the back injury? Let me Google this. Back surgery, back injury, back surgery. So it does seem like this is the man. Fairley recently went into detail about his back injury. He explained that it occurred during a deadlift exercise, which damaged his lumbosacral joint that connects the L5 and S1 discs. All right, so he did have that back injury, and back injuries are no joke, folks. If you have a back injury, you're done. You're done. Just look at Michael Porter Jr. in the NBA, folks. I mean, he's great, but that back injury, as the season progresses, is going to stiffen up, and then he went ghost mode in the playoffs. So Caleb Fairley, we hope that doesn't happen to him, but do they have him listed as their number one corner? What do we got here? Yeah, Caleb Fairley is their number one corner. He's going to have to kind of jump in there and be that great kind of lockdown, and hopefully that back doesn't tighten up at all this season. So it's a good draft pick if he can stay healthy. Then they went out and got an offensive tackle in the second round. They got a linebacker in the third round and another cornerback in the third round as well, Elijah Molden. A little bit of a insurance policy on Caleb Fairley. Caleb Fairley is 6'2", folks. Absolutely fantastic. Elijah Molden back to 5'10". So that's what we're working with here. We need Caleb Fairley just for the skill set, but also for the height back there too. All right, fourth round, they get Des Fitzpatrick, a 6'2" wide receiver, seeing if he works out. Like we say, anything that's kind of fourth round or later, really don't expect to start. All first, second, third round picks have an ability to start, so we'll see how they all work out. Also in the fourth round, they get a defensive end, Rashad Weaver. And then sixth round, they get a wide receiver, 6'3", fantastic, and a safety. So overall, they tried to shore up their defense a little bit with the first three picks, first three third round picks, I should say. Two corners, a linebacker, and an offensive lineman with their first 3 round picks. We'll see how they adjust and how they kind of acclimate here for this Titans team, and if they are going to be week 1 starters or not, or just starters or good rotational pieces, relievers, whatever they kind of translate to. All right, let's see where this Titans offensive line was ranking. We know that Derrick Henry rushed for 2,000 yards last season, so the offensive line should be solid, right? So let's see what PFF is saying. This is what we're taking. We're not taking this as the gospel. We're just seeing a good benchmark. That's all we want to get on this, a good benchmark of what the line is like. So here we go, the final 2020 offensive line rankings by PFF. Let's see where they rank the Titans. Here we go. We're scrolling. We don't want to scroll too long, obviously, because that means they're, bad or just not very highly ranked. Here we go, number 15. Let's see what they say about them. Here we go. The Titans as a whole were a much better run blocking than pass blocking group. Like we said, the stats are not lying, folks. The rushing game was a lot better than the passing game. Ryan Tannehill not throwing for 4,000 yards and being below average in the passing game, and Derrick Henry being above average in the rushing game. We know this. So the Titans as a whole were a much better run blocking than a pass blocking group. There was not a single starter on the Tennessee offensive line that recorded a higher pass blocking grade than run blocking grade. Derrick Henry, being the first team All-Pro running back, obviously played a role in their rushing success this season, but the guys up front also did a good job of blocking for one of the most interesting run schemes in the NFL. The Titans ran more outside zone, 45% of the rushes, than any other team than the Bears, but many of their better runs of the season came in duo. The tackle position was their biggest concern for the Titans this season, with the off-field troubles putting a sizable blemish on the rookie season of first-round pick Isaiah Wilson and an injury to Taylor Lewan, compounding the loss of Jack Conklin on the other side in free agency. Those are big contributing factors to some of Tennessee's struggles in pass protection this year. So we have Isaiah Wilson, he got injured, so is he back here for this Titans team? Is he back in the starting lineup? Here we go. They don't have Isaiah Wilson on their roster anymore, so alrighty, interesting there. Did we say that they lost him? Was that the person that they lost? Let's quickly see. No, they didn't. They don't have any mention of losing Isaiah Thompson. What was that? Forgot the name already. Isaiah Wilson. So he's not back. All right, what about Tyler Lewan, who got injured? He's back. Tyler Lewan is back at left tackle. So Tyler Lewan is back. They've got their rookie that they drafted, Dylan Renews. Is he listed as their starting lineman? Where they got him at? They do got Dylan Redunes as their starting right tackle. So we'll see if the rookie can make an impact. So overall, offensive line is going to have to kind of get a little bit better in the passing game, rushing game. Try to be as good as you can, but we know Derrick Henry can take over. All right, and then the last thing to kind of go over is another off-season just kind of report card, this time from Bleacher Report. Just once again, just kind of see what this team is all about, what they're saying on them, and once again, getting a nice little refresher on who they lost and what they gained and everything like that. So let's go to the Tennessee Titans quickly, and then we'll walk through their schedule to see how many wins we can give this team. Tennessee Titans, here we go. Alrighty. So the key additions, obviously signing edge rusher Bud Dupree, defensive lineman Danico Autry, offensive tackle Kendall Lamb, cornerback Janoris Jenkins, cornerback Kevin Johnson, wide receiver Josh Reynolds, and linebacker Jayon Brown. Then the additions through the draft, Caleb Fairley, Dylan Radnews, and Elijah Molden, all first 3-round picks, like we said. And then their key departures, tight end Jonnu Smith, wide receiver Corey Davis, Adam Humphries, they've also lost, Malcolm Butler, Adoree Jackson, another corner, Jadeveon Clowney, and Kenny Vaccaro, and then, like we know, like we already said, Corey Davis. All right, now let's see what Bleacher Report is saying in their 3 paragraphs on this team. So here we go. The Tennessee Titans desperately needed pass rushing help after posting the lowest sack rate in the league last season. Yeah, that will do it, folks. Why they were number 24 defensively, absolutely. And Dupree should help with that, truly. I'm a big fan of Bud Dupree. We love that Steelers defense last season. Unfortunately, all the injuries and, Bud Dupree, coming off of an ACL injury, will cost an average of $16 million a year, and they could have had Ngakoue, Trey Hendrickson, Carl Lawson, Matthew Judon, or Hassan Reddick for a lot less. So they are betting highly on Bud Dupree to come back healthy off the injury, and ACL tears are never great. That's far from ideal when you got as many prime in-house free agents as the Titans, who lost key starters Smith, Davis, Butler, and Jackson, and didn't do enough to replace those guys on the open market or in the draft. But overall, I mean, like we said, they were very, very well below average in the pass defense. So once again, yeah, they lost those corners, but overall, they weren't making the biggest impact. Yeah, they were still winning games, which is still a good sign. You don't want to kind of be a bad defense and start losing games. So the one kind of silver lining was that they were winning games, but overall, how sustainable is that going to be? Because they could be just start, flip of a coin, losing those games as well, because they were giving up a lot of points and a lot of yards through the air. So yeah, they lost some corners, but let's see if these new guns, these new pickups, can start locking it down in the passing game. Jenkins, Johnson, Fairley, and Molden could transform the secondary, but Jenkins is 32. Johnson has had a disappointing career. Fairley enters the league with questions about his durability and technique, and nobody wants to rely on a third-round pick like Molden. On top of that, they're going to miss Smith, one of quarterback Ryan Tannehill's favorite red zone targets, but they got Julio Jones, so this last paragraph is a little buck kiss, but this was written before the trade, so no fault of their own. There's no way this is a good grade. So overall, it's just a defense that needs to come out and prove that it's got the goods, that it can deliver. The offense we're really kind of big on. The offensive coordinator, we'll see if they kind of play to their strengths, and Mike Vogel, we are big on him as a coach, so we'll see if they can get it done. So overall, let's just take a one little quick at their defense here. They got Danico Autry. What did he do last year in terms of sacks? He had 7.5. Pretty solid with the Colts last year, I believe. Jeffrey Simmons, what did he do last year for sacks? Only 3. Got to get that number up. So pass rushers, Bud Dupree. How many sacks did he have last year before he got injured? He had 8 sacks. Whoosh, sheesh. Fantastic. What else we got? Rashad Evans, linebacker Jayon Brown, Junior Jenkins, Kevin Byard, free safety. We like Caleb Fairley. So overall, a solid defense, but we need the rookies to make a big impact, and same with Bud Dupree. Alrighty, now let's walk through their schedule and see how many wins we can give this team so far, and then we'll place them on our working list to see where they kind of compare to everybody else that we've done thus far. So here we go, the Tennessee Titans, easy schedule, hard schedule, favorable schedule, winnable schedule. Let's find out, folks. Here we go, week 1. They are at home against the Cardinals. Woof. This is going to be a real tough game because we are big fans on this Cardinals team. Their offense especially. So this great Cardinals offense going against a questionable Titans defense. The Cardinals defense is a little questionable in itself against this great Titans offense. I'm going to give the Titans a win because it is week 1 and they are at home. That's basically their only saving grace here. Real going to be a real close game. Great week 1 game to really see what these kind of teams are made of early on. But I'm going to give the Titans a win here. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll have the Titans win week 1. Then week 2, they have to go to Seattle in a kind of a little bit of an afternoon game, 4:25 start on the road. I'm giving the Seattle the win there. Then week 3 against the Colts, they're at home. This is going to be once again a great game. Real tough schedule here for the Titans, real early on. But we're expecting Carson Wentz. We're expecting him to be back week 4, but he could be back. Oh, this one's so hard because he could be back week 1. He could be back week 2. He could be back before week 1. So, Carson Wentz may be back by week 3, folks. He really could be back by week 3. Oh, this one's tough, man. That Colts defense is going to be good, too. This one's tough. I'm going to give the Titans a loss here, folks. I'm sorry. Only 1 win so far against the Cardinals. Man. Then they go and face the Jets. I'll give them a win there. Then they go and face the Jaguars. They'll give them a win there. They're on the road. I don't care. They have to go and face the Bills. This is a Monday night game. They are at home for it, but I'm going to give the Bills a win. And then they go and face the Chiefs. Going to give the Chiefs a win there. Then they go and face the Colts again. I'll have them split against the Colts. Let's have them split against the Colts. So we'll give them a win for their home game against the Colts. This one here in October 31st is on the road, so we'll give them a loss there. So we're back at 4 wins for this Colts team. Or for this Titans team, excuse me. Then they go at the Rams. Got to give them a loss there. That defense really should lock this Titans team down. And that Rams offense, I don't know if the Titans defense can get it done. Then they go and face the Saints. I'm going to give them a win here because I don't know if we're going to like the Saints team overall. We only had them at 6 wins. Then they go and face the Texans. We'll give them a win there. The Texans are absolutely trash. Deshaun Watson's not going to be playing, and that's their only saving grace. Deshaun Watson can turn that trash team into a bad team. He can turn a trash team to a bad team. We saw that last season, but it doesn't translate to wins. So we'll give them a win here. Then they go at the Patriots. This is going to be an interesting game, but I think they can win this. I don't like this Patriots offense. I don't buy Cam Newton, and I don't know if I buy Mac Jones either. And I don't buy any of their tier 2 weapons that they're trying to, pass off as, golden gooses out here. So I'll give them a win against the Patriots. Wow, late bye here. Then they come out of the bye against the Jaguars. I'm going to have them sweeping the Jags. Pittsburgh late in the year, folks. At Pittsburgh, gonna be a great one. Bud Dupree back there, a little bit of a redemption game. Gonna be close, but I am gonna give them a loss because they are on the road, unfortunately. Then they go and face the 49ers. This one is on Thursday Night Football. Primetime game. They're at home against the 49ers. I'm going to have get a win here because we're uncertain on what the hell is going on with the quarterbacks here, and Jimmy Garoppolo late in the season could be injured. So I'll give the Titans a win there. Then they go and face the Dolphins. They're at home. This defense of the Dolphins could be real solid. I think this is a big winnable game, but it is still, well, I don't know. It's close. We like the Dolphins, obviously. Their offense should be real solid at the end of the year, fighting for playoff spots, fighting for the AFC. Titans are at home. I'll give them a win against the Dolphins. And then the last week of the season, they face the Texans. They sweep the Texans. So this Titans team, We'll have them at 11 wins. They have a real tough starting schedule, but it starts to kind of loosen up at the back end, which is probably good. No? Cardinals, Seahawks, Colts is a real kind of brutal 3-game gauntlet to start. But then you face the Jets and the Jags, and then it gets a little bit bumpy again with the Bills, Chiefs, and Colts, and the Rams. But then the last, what do we got? I mean, this stretch here, down the stretch, Saints, Texans, Patriots, bye, Jaguars, Steelers, 49ers, Dolphins, Texans. I mean, that's a real favorable end of the season schedule right there for what? How many weeks is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The last 9 weeks are all winnable, folks. Absolutely. So we'll have them at 11 wins. All right. Favorable schedule for this Titans team. 11-6 they go. All right, now where do we rank them? So I'm going to put them under Washington because I think this Titans team can get the wins, but how is their overall defense and offense going to look? Are they just squeaking out wins? Are they not putting up a lot of points? Anything like that. So this is a winnable schedule. I'm just not sure if this overall offense is going to be kind of great enough. Like we said, the red flag with the offensive coordinator, the defense, big question marks as well. Maybe they're just winning because they're not facing that good teams. Like we said, if they can go out and kind of show us early on that they're going out and beating the Cardinals and the Seahawks, and they're having real great success against the Colts, and then they go to Buffalo and show out there, maybe not win, but at least compete. Same thing with the Chiefs, maybe, don't win, but compete, one possession loss, close game, something like that. Same thing with the Rams. So if they can go out and prove that they can go out and beat and compete with these kind of good AFC teams and good NFC teams, we can buy the Titans a little bit more. Only time will tell, and I'm not a big fan of that offense coordinator. So I'm going to drop them right below Washington. I'll keep them above the Raiders because I think I can trust that Titans offense a little bit more than the Raiders offense. It's real close. It's real tough. So we'll have the Titans there. We still like Washington because their ceiling is high. Really, they've got good pieces everywhere. Ryan Fitzpatrick is really going to be, the make it or break it with them, and their defense, they can rely heavy on it. So that's why we're big on this Washington team. So we'll leave the Titans at 11-6 right below Washington, above the Raiders, above the Falcons, above the Broncos, above the Saints, above the Lions. I think that's a good spot for them right now. We can move it. Folks, you see how easy it is to move pieces on this list? Just that. We can move it. Slide it up, slide it down. So we'll leave the Titans right there. I think that's a good spot for them right there. Winnable schedule, winnable, favorable schedule for them. Let's see them go out and kind of earn that Super Bowl. Let's see.